Now, I know that all of our speakers are available right now, so let me actually come back to introduction and introduce to you Dr. Maha. So Maha, just say hello before we move forward. Just unmute yourself. I just
Hello,
want.
how are you?
Wonderful lady, yes. So I'm not the only lady today on the webinar. Mahav is joining us. And Jihad, please, I also want to introduce you as our supply chain consultants, practical actual speaker. Please also meet our audience.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks, Jihad. Thank you. Okay, let's move forward. Couple of words about solution I already mentioned. So today we will be discussing supply chain disruptions and how modern artificial intelligence-based solution can help you with it. We will be showing to you a solution which is artificially based and which is developed by GMDH Incorporation. This is leading international company with the support of more than 100 partners all around the world. And a solution which is helping you, if there is only one thing you have to remember about this solution, this is a solution which helps our clients to save money and to make money on supply chain. Okay, let's move forward. So if we're talking about supply chain disruptions challenges, today we're talking about efficiency and being effective if we're talking about demand forecasting and inventory planning. We know that there are a lot of things like political climate change, supplier unpredictability. Historical data was impacted by the COVID just recently, just 2 years ago. For us right now, it sounds like, oh my God, it was just like decades ago, but no, it was just 2 years ago. Forecasting demand for new product is difficult, but at the same time, we have new products coming to market every time, every day. Again, political crisis, economic recession. So actually, this is what is happening. And I know that, again, in MENA region, these problems are very actually we can feel and we face those problems on everyday basis. And I'm very happy that today's speakers are both from academic side of industry and practical side of industry. And again, if we're talking about academic side, we are happy to invite Dr. Maha. And if we're talking about practical side, we are happy to invite Mr. Jihad. Let's move forward. And let's talk about this problem. Actually, let's talk about this question because, I don't like this word problem. Let's talk about this question as efficiency in supply chain in MENA region. And let me actually invite Dr. Maha because I do know that she recently had some scientific researchers about this topic. So Maha, please, stage is yours. I would like actually to start with supply chain management integration. And after that, we will switch to efficiency. Okay, stage is yours, please.
Welcome to you in our webinar to talk about our efficient supply chain and to talk about more specific about the supply chain planning. So depends on our webinar today, we have to talk about how to rethink about the restructuring of our supply chain, about our supply chain disruption, about the demand, increasing the profit for manufacturing, including new digital technology. For example, our main role today is our Streamline. So the role of our Streamline today is to talk about how to recover the process. If we recover the process, so we can develop the model of rethinking of how to restructuring our supply chain. So we can talk more about the economic modeling. If we can talk about the controlling and the motivated action that we use in our closed loop supply chain. So our closed loop supply chain related to the forcing manufacturing, retailing, the end of the user or the end of customer. So depends on all of that, we talk about how to reuse the part of a product in long term or a long time. So after a crisis and after the whole supply chain risks today, we must talk about the life of a product through the product's life recovery, or the product, how to increase the production scheduling, and how to finish the product. Mostly or unlikely, unfortunately, today, to take the right decision making now, or the priority in the taking the right decision making, is how to reduce the supply chain disruption risk. So after the whole researches and the more results, we can use that. We must control the regulations that we face with governments, that we face with the private companies, that we face with the internationally trading regulations. Mostly because we have a problem with the relation between the competitive strategy and the environmental sustainability in our supply chain. Today, our supply chain is not only about how to make a linear production from original country to the end customer. It's not only about the source of the competitive advantage. It's about how to risk mitigation to make the right decision making. And today, our global competitive advantage and our efficient supply chain help business to gain not only a competitive advantage in the market, it's only about the network after the market, the network after the delivering of the end customer for a product for the end customer. So we can use literature review, we can use more case studies that talk about the enhancing of our supply chain. It talk about how to give a multi-criteria about the decision-making structure to deal with the complexity now after the crisis, the interruption between the aspect and the process integration. So we have now a problem in the supply chain integration. We have that problem in the information in the integration. We have now problem with the strategic alliances affect the supply chain design and structuring. Why? Because we could not have the clear vision of supply chain innovation related to risk management capabilities. We have that gap. I believe that Streamline can help the supply chain network, which is related to core competencies with the companies. I believe that it gave us the right structure to take the right decision making in multi-criteria, which is not only money criteria. I believe that we have to give infrastructure to our process integration. On the other hand, how to develop a competitive advantage for managerial decision and investment in technology and process innovation. For that reason, now logistic and supply chain informative for the helping or bring a benefit for increasing the efficiency and responsive. But we have that problem in the competitive between the logistic and supply chain. Can't say that they have one concept. They have two different concepts, and the supply chain always plays the activity can help industry gain more a competitive advantage more than logistic. In order to investigate the relation between the supplier and the customer, which is the supplier and the customer have any collaboration or not. The value added here or the value chain we need to be between the supplier and the customer to make that right integration, it depends on not only the collaboration, not only about the innovation. It's about how to get the positive impact. We need now something or concept called supply chain capability. Furthermore, the supply chain upper or middle or downstream. This is in the traditional or old manufacturing theoretical way. So we care more about the modern thinking, rethinking, restructuring for our supply chain in increasing efficiency and helping our logistic field more to take the right decision making. Unfortunately, for many reasons, uh, I believe that the problem we faced here in the Middle East, for example, it's not only about the cost production. It's sometimes that we don't have any real communication skills between the managerial way and the managerial level and the functional level. So I couldn't understand what our manager needs. So, and they don't believe that I don't have the right capabilities or the right skills to bring them the right benefit to our organization, especially in our supply chain. We still don't have any clear we still don't have a clear vision about the IT technology, how to continue the right, or how to apply the right information technology to transfer from traditional logistic and supply chain to the digital supply chain. This is one of the problems we face. So the other concept we talk about, this is supply chain integration that we face in the sustainability of the supply chain. One of the problem here that we gain a component to gain the competitive advantage. I believe that our companies and our universities, they do not have any idea how to apply knowledge management regardless to the relation between the sustainable supply chain and the knowledge management without any forcing, without to identify the real idea of the concept of knowledge management in order to improve our performance of our supply chain, in order to make our organization in helping them more learning, to share more knowledge, to collaborate, to create our knowledge, to think in how to be more effective in their performance. And at the end, I have to say that we must care more how to improve our theoretical from the book, from written texts, to be applied, or to be managerial and functional implementation to get the value chain of our supply chain. So one of the best thing I can recommend is our Streamline, which is our partner we will talk about to talk about the partner, the companies, the real cases, the success story. Part of that is smarting value, an opportunity, generating new ideas, a new revenue to our business value. Thank you.
Thank you, Maha. Thank you so much. Thank you actually for your kind words. And what I want actually to mention, in your studies, in all of your researches, in all of your topics, actually, almost in all of them, as you can see, there is always word efficiency, right? So efficiency, this is our philosophy as well. So right now we have very difficult situation. We have very difficult situation, which is bringing to us a lot of problems with historical data, a lot of problems with global logistics, right? A lot of problems with, so actually what is waiting for us? Recessions, some economic disruptions. But again, does it mean that we have to just wait and believe that the recession just will end up and we will start better times? Of course, no. We have to be proactive and we have to move forward, looking better ways actually have to work with all of these problems. Because again, they are here right now. They will not go away tomorrow or in 6 months. But react, we have actually we have to react right now. So this is what is important. Let's move forward, because again, it was nice introduction from Dr. Maha about academic view to those problems, right? But right now I would like actually to move forward and I want to hear your opinion. Right now on the screen, And again, Dr. Maha, since researchers are important to you, you will have results of these questionnaires for your further researches. So question which we want to learn from you is, what is the biggest supply chain challenge at your company right now? Is it inaccurate demand forecast, automated replenishment order plans? Is it difficult for you to respond to suppliers and unpredictability or others? So please, you have it right now. Please just answer quickly and we will move forward. But right now we will also see actually results on our screens when they are available. Okay, let's move forward to practical actually solutions, practical steps which we can do while we are moving forward with our webinar. And first, strategic and actually tactical, right? A question we want to discuss is supplier unpredictability. Again, supplier change their delivery date. In current situations, they do it usually, but right now it is even it's happening just all the time, constantly. Suppliers change order quantity, suppliers change their pricing strategy, suppliers actually do all of these at the same time, you know it. And at the same time we have to react to all of these problems. And actually what we can do, we can use technology, we can use solutions in order to make sure that we are prepared and we have next steps, we can react, we have visibility for better decision making. And there are some other things actually which are important. We want to recommend to you some best practices, strategic best practices, which will help you actually to move forward with those problems. First of all, it's synchronization, right? So if we're talking about company synchronization, team member synchronizations, and there is also extended SNOP, sometimes we call it extended synchronization, when all team members within the company and outside of the company have the same information, have the same source of truth. So this is first thing actually which is important. It is highly recommended by our experts to have better communication with suppliers. So this is actually what Maha just told, right? That usually we just lack this communication between team members. And again, if we're talking about team members, I don't only talk about supply chain department or demand forecasting department. I'm not talking about department. I'm always bringing it a little bit higher. So if we're talking about company, this is SNOP level, right? If we're talking about higher partnership, it is company and clients, company and vendors or suppliers. Now, what will it give to us? We will be more predictable to our suppliers because, again, what is our problem? Supplier unpredictability, right? We don't understand what is happening actually inside of our supplier business, but at the same time, very often it's for suppliers, it is not clear what is happening in our business. What do we need? So by having better communication with supplier, by having better predictability to suppliers, we will have, again, this communication, we will have, it will be easier for us to overcome disruptions because, again, suppliers, our success is our supplier success. If we have problems, believe me, suppliers are not happy because we are their clients. They want us to be successful. So what we have to do, we just have to create this connection in communication to make sure that suppliers can make us successful and we can make them successful as well. Now, we can discuss some implementation questions. For example, there are different strategies like min-max, periodic ordering strategy, right? I will actually ask our experts to comment on it a little bit, especially Jihad, because he's working with it. But again, this is one more thing when best practice, which can help us actually to overcome all of these disruptions and unpredictabilities. So all that will help us reduce uncertainty. All that will help us minimize risk. Is it possible to bring this risk to zero? No, it never was. And definitely it is not possible today. But again, to overcome, to survive, to face all of these situations, let's call it that way. I don't like word problems. I already mentioned today, we need to be better prepared. And actually, paper and pen, only Excel file and calculator actually will not do this job as properly as more advanced solutions. So let's move forward. What I'm doing right now, I'm giving stage to Jihad for him to share with us, again, some practical case studies and how can we overcome all of these situations in practice.
Okay, thank you very much, Natalie. I just want to say that your supplier cannot understand the nature of your market, even if he is, the manufacturer of the items, but he cannot understand how their items will behave in your market. So we had a situation in the past with a company in Saudi Arabia, where the item to the supplier was considered a slow-moving item, but surprisingly, in Saudi Arabia, the item was very fast mover. And that created a problem to the company because the demand is higher than availability. So we had to, just deploy a system just to enable the company to provide the supplier with their demand plan for 12 months ahead of time, so that they can schedule the deliveries to the customer at the right time. So in this case, the company became more predictable to the supplier, and the supplier became responsive to the demands that are coming from the market, and that's actually solved the problem. So let me show you how we can do this in Streamline. I hope everybody can see my screen right now.
Yes, we can. Thank you so much, Jihad.
Yeah, okay. So before I proceed, for those who are not familiar with Streamline, let me give a quick overview. Streamline actually is very flexible to fit in your business process, offering a very effective connection tool, integration with many ERP systems, database systems, Excel sheets, or a combination of any of these together. So it is very flexible that you can directly integrate the system with your database, and you can immediately start, generating the forecast and replenishment orders. Streamline has a very flexible demand planning environment, including SNOP tool, very interactive SNOP tool, inventory replenishment planning. It also generates a set of informational reports that are very important for the management, especially. And finally, a KPIs dashboard to see how the implementation plan provided or offered by Streamline is performing. So back to our first issue today, which is the supplier unpredictability. In the replenishment planning tab, you can see here that the replenishment strategy that we are having right now is the min-max strategy. Accordingly, this Streamline will issue or suggest planned orders based on that strategy. In this example, the company has only 22 SKUs, and if we just pulled out the planned orders that are suggested by Streamline in this case, you can see that the planned order is almost all the items in the company. So in this case, Streamline is suggesting that you need to order all the items in the company, because once you reach the minimum level for each item, automatically the the quantity, the replenishment quantity needs to be ordered. So this is the case in this situation where the planning strategy is the min-max. So let's see what will happen if we switched it to periodic. Now, if I pull the planned orders again, and you can see that Streamline is suggesting to order only 15 items. This way, Streamline now has reduced the ordered SKUs to 15 items, which will make your supplier life easier. And above of that, also the supplier will know that you are going to issue orders in a periodic manner. So next month there will be another order. So this way your supplier became more predictable, and he can just fulfill your orders because he's receiving small SKUs in each order, and it is easier for them to supply you with the required orders at the right time. So this is how Streamline will help the companies in changing the replenishment strategy, in helping your supplier be more responsive to your demand, and you can have your required inventory at the right time. Therefore, you will not lose any stage opportunity you might have in the future. Back to you, Natalie.
Thank you, Jihad. Thank you so much, actually, for practical advice, for sharing your experience. Let's move forward with other problems we may face right now. And this is historical data disruption. So we know that times are changing and everything is changing so quickly, and things like COVID-19, some natural disasters, some global trade conflicts, some stockouts during significant demand, right? Lost sales, zero sales. Again, we already discussed supplier unpredictability. Artificial low sales because of some managing, let's say, like mistakes, right? They all bring us to difficulties in demand forecasting. And to work with it, again, we need to understand, we need to have same source of truth, same data, and what are the best practices? So first of all, this is we have to clean data, we have to revise if everything's what we want to be used in future is already checked and edited in our data. And we have to make sure that we have the sales history on place, right? So how is it possible actually to work with it? Again, Jihad, stage is yours. Please feel free to move forward with a short demo to show us actually best practices. How do you recommend to your clients work with it?
Natalie said the best practice is to recognize, the specific data points that have been disrupted in the history, and try to eliminate their effect to your supply plan or the demand plan. This way, you will improve your forecast. And let's show you how's that done in Streamline. I've selected an item in the consumer goods, building materials. And if you can see here, this item, just let me explain a little bit about the colors here in this graph. The gray line is your historical sales. The blue is the AI-based model fit for Streamline for your history. and the red line is your forecast. The green is your projected inventory across the horizon. So as we can see here, there are 2 months, which are actually November and December 2018, where the sales was 0. So due to this, disruption, Streamline has, just selected that the demand for, or the behavior for this item is seasonal, as we can see, and there is an upward trend. So as you can see, as we move forward, the values are going up. So this disruption caused the forecast to be in this way. Let's see if we eliminated the effect of these two data points by just telling Streamline to ignore these 2 points. And you can see here the model has adjusted itself, and now Streamline, it is still seasonal, but the level is almost constant. In this way, we have better forecast. We can be ordering items according to the actual demand, and our orders are more accurate to the supplier. So by eliminating the 0 sales here, it will help us to have better accuracy in our forecast, and then the replenishment will be much better, and the situation on the in terms of inventory levels will be much better. Okay.
Thank you, Jihad. Thank you. So actually, just to summarize, what Streamline is doing, actually, this is artificial intelligence, which is calculating for you everything absolutely quickly, as quick as possible. At the same time, it gives you control, and you can change, you can improve, because again, doesn't matter how good is artificial intelligence, your experience and your expertise as supply chain expert and your intuition is much higher, much better. Actually, Dr. Maha, is it something that your researchers are saying us about, correct? Explanation.
Okay. I want to talk about the role of the solutions we are trying to apply. Depends on our information accusation about the storage, about the sales prices, or the sales history. Involve the digital technology of our supply chain management integration. So now the technology impact in terms of influencing on the technology development increase the efficiency and the effectiveness in the trade-off between the reducing cost and the improving service quality. This is what we want to talk about more. That now, in the past or in the traditional supply chain, we always talk about the right idea of cut cost. Now we care more about how to use digital technology to improve and enhance the service quality, because we care more about the stages of the contracting process, understanding the public value, understanding the service market, improving the public manager with the comprehensive strategic framework for our contract management with the technology impact. So the interaction of the strategic management, the planning, the economic that we suggest today can improve the service delivery through the idea of the value chain, the service market, the factor that we need to decide the delivery service to, as it's direct or indirect, the deploying the monitor tool with implementation, and also to to explain the interaction between the good quality service or the contract or the product service. all of them deploying as illustration between the way that we suggest to more effective to our management in the trade-off involved. I believe that we have not in this case not to control, because we are not in the managerial. Now we talk about the selecting, for example, the vendor to our product service. So we care more about the monitoring, the monitoring of optimizing the production schedule, for example, to control to the idea of the decision making, the integration of the framework. The solution here we have with the Streamline, such as integration with the complexity, a large scale of big data problem. This data can, which is which is difficult, we can solve. But why we solve it? To achieve the service excellence, why maintaining the unit cost, why referring to cost-effective service excellence, to gain a better understanding to each strategies that we apply in each company. So we set a high quality service in a low cost. We got a leadership concept. I believe that the reducing of the process, allowing a greater use of system technology to achieve our goals. The main idea I talk about in the first was about a closed loop network design problem in our supply chain. With the recent case studies talk about how to make it as specific and dynamic aspect to specialize for the logistic, to consider the cost and the profit, as well as the route of the end of the product to the end user. This is what I have to mention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maha. Thank you so much. Let's move forward. And again, switching from academic view to very practical problems. Let's say tasks, very practical tasks we have on everyday basis. New product demand forecasting. This is again what we face all the time, because market doesn't matter if there is recession or no, market is always very dynamic and there are always new products coming, and we have to forecast, have to work with it. And actually, before moving forward, let me mention a question we have from one of our visitors, and this question is, if involving supplier in new product development, the product development can reduce supplier unpredictability. So thank you for this question. And I will ask again Jihad to move forward to share his screen, to share with us best practices for new product demand forecasting. And Jihad, if you can respond to this question, if involving supplier into new product development can reduce unpredictability. If you can respond to this question and elaborate a little bit, it would be also nice. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me share my screen again. Yeah. Regarding the new product introduction or replacement of new items, I'm sure everyone on this webinar, has experienced such case in their, daily work. And in this case, since it is a new item, then there will be no historical sales. And accordingly, it will not be possible that we can, create demand, and we cannot include it in replenishment plan. So in this case, the best thing to do is to model the demand of the new item using other patterns, or patterns of other items that are, similar, or you believe that they are they could be similar in behavior in the market. So how's that accomplished and Streamline? Let me just show that again on the same group. This item, the concrete blocks, as you can see, there is no actual sales for that item. That means it's a new item, and accordingly, there will be no demand, as you can see, and no planning for this item. So we have, different ways that we can handle it in Streamline. One way, we can just say, since we have another item in the same category, so we can copy the behavior of this item and project it on the new item. I will do this by copying this item and by going to the new item here, and I go to this field, use model from. So I will paste the item code that I selected, and then Streamline, as you can see, projected the behavior of this item to the new one. And therefore, you can see that there is now a demand for the new item, and therefore we can include it in our replenishment plan. Another way we can use this pattern and save it. Let's say if I want to use it for other items, I want to keep this pattern because I believe this pattern can be applied to many items. So I can go there and save this pattern. Let's say I will name it that nails pattern. Okay, and I will use a level of 1,000 items as to start as what starting quantity. Okay. Because I think I have already saved one. So I go to the new item, which is still has no demand, and I go to the field here, seasonality pattern, and I select the nails again, and you can see that this pattern has already applied on the new item, and we can see that there is also a demand for this item, and again, we can include it in our replenishment plan. That's if we want to do it on the SKU level. We can do that also at a category level. Let's say if we introduce a new category, let me go to this group. So we have the food and beverage category. We have a new group that is introduced in the company, which is the chocolate. It contains two items, and both items have, they are totally new, and we don't have any actual sales for them. And we need to create, to include them in our forecast. So what I can do again, I can use both ways, either one of the ways I explained just before. I can copy this item, and I go to that to select the group as a whole and paste the item here, and accordingly, Streamline will project the pattern of the selected item to the whole group. And if I want to go down to drill down to any one of the items, as you can see, all the items under this category has its own share of the demand that is projected according to the projection that we used for the period for the selected items. So therefore, we can also include the whole category in our replenishment plan using this way. And I can use the model and save the pattern and apply it on the category as a whole. So this way, you can see that it is easy for us to include or create demand for any new item or any new category in Streamline. And we can include it in our replenishment plan immediately without any issue. But I need to just mention one thing for a case that we have experienced with the company. They had a situation like this, and they have a new item, a new replacement to an item that is already running in the system in the company, but the manufacturers had issued a new replacement for that item. So automatically the company projected the behavior of the old item to the new item, which is a correct practice actually. But surprisingly, the company they found that the demand on the new item, because sometimes the customer, if they see a new item, they might be reluctant in just buying the new item instead of the old item, especially if they are used to use that old item. So it might be advisable for any planner. That's actually what we suggest based on the experience. You might consider to change or to adjust the level after you just project or model the new item. You might need to consider changing or adjusting the level just to account for any unexpected drop in that in the demand, and to be more protected against having overstock due to that unexpected drop in the demand. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jihad. Thank you so much, actually, for your practical recommendations. This is, again, this is what we need. Webinar is valuable if we have, general view of what is happening in region. Thanks, Dr. Maha. And when we have this practical, tactical advice, what we can do actually to move forward and to overcome all of these challenges. And again, let's move forward. We have one more questionnaire for you, ladies and gentlemen. And this questionnaire actually is about the priority of level for demand forecasting and supply chain improvement in your company. So is it top priority for you? Is it high priority? Is it important or maybe moderate? And your company is working just perfectly? So if you can share with us situation which is right now, it would be nice. It would be wonderful. Okay, you have this questionnaire. Let's move forward. Let's also discuss next steps. So I'm sure that not many of you will give answers that improving is a moderate priority, that most of you will have really high priority, top priority for improving your supply chain, demand forecasting, inventory management situation, right? So let's talk about next steps. What are supposed to be next steps for overcoming those issues? And actually, can you just really shortly give your advice? And I will ask you, Dr. Maha, and you, Jihad, just in a couple of sentences to summarize about developing strategy and creating plan for future steps.
I'm looking for something about the supply chain integration and its implementation in our disruption strategy, or market operation, or disruption linking with the product pricing and disruption. I believe that it is difficult to and costly to provide flexibility and to know always the right type of a process capacity. This is one of the things I believe as academic. So, but we care more about the employee skills and the supplies on the demand and at high quality. So I believe that we always we have to provide always excellent service. We can use functions of operation, marketing, and human resources to get the integrated that we want as a result of the trade-off between functional goals and particularly of the applied and the implementation of the market operation. So we must to get after all of that loyalty, excellent service, sales, upselling, cross-selling, and the market share. Whereas all of that are part of the operation, which is considered with unit cost, productivity, and capacity utilization. Most of the recent case studies or the literature review talks about the productivity and the linking with the pricing and the disruption. But I believe that when we have that the process or the connection between the suppliers and with the raw material and the final consumption of the finished product, we can get the right internal and external function of our company to get or to enable the value chain that we sometimes we got the gap between the value chain and with our supply chain. So if I want to make a right supply chain to my product, I believe that we must to create right sourcing, delivering to demand, using technology to gather market demand information and to exchange the information between the organization. This is one of the true capabilities of the process. We need to encounter the supply chain, whether with the suppliers, manufacturing, plant, warehousing, customer, instead of the total supply chain integration required. And as a summary, I believe that we have an involved activities that in delivering the product from a raw material to our customer, including sourcing. So all of the cross channels or the delivery to the customer require to, we believe, I would to repeat something very new, that we monitor all these activities by using technology to gather market demand. This is what we have to do, to coordinate or to integrate each single resources of the supply chain. We have a critical point in our supply chain in order to determine the requirement or the required process, that sometimes these required processes are not part of our supply chain or are not part of our decision making to our managers of companies as a long care in the success to our department activities. Why? Because we have that problem between regulations as the coordination, integration, that all of us, that we don't have that right vision of contract manufacturing. But now, by using Streamline, I believe that we can increase the customer satisfaction, increase the productivity. I believe that we can increase the dollar strategy in which we seek both customer and satisfaction and productivity. I believe that we can focus on customer satisfaction more as a higher financial return on productivity to implement agile strategy. And nowadays, so we care more about the competitive and the marketplace, managing operation. All of them will be the wisdom to our demand on the operation function. And thank you.
Yeah. May I just suggest another next step? Yeah. To me, if you are using Excel, please go ahead and digitize your supply chain. You know, we saw many companies in the region, even big companies, they are using Excel in managing their demand planning and replenishment. And let me share some numbers just for your information. According to some economic reports, it is expected that the impact on the corporate value due to unpredictability, it is expected to increase from 15 to 25% during the next 5 years. And only right now, only 12% of the companies are protected against future disruptions. Why? Because they have switched to digital ecosystems. And in the 2025, this number is expected to increase to 23%. So we hope that Streamline will be part of this, increase, and will help you to be to transfer your systems to be digitized and to be protected against future disruptions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jihad. Thank you so much for these numbers. It's really important. Guys, 2 more minutes and we are finishing. I know that we are supposed to finish within 60 minutes. Please give us 65. So just to summarize, make sure that you always develop strategy for data disruption. Think what makes sense actually for your company, for your department. Step number 2, you should always have a plan to quickly respond to supplier unpredictability. And we had several questions about it. So again, think what makes sense for you. And unfortunately, we don't have a chance to respond to all questions, but what we can do for you, we can offer to you consultations with our experts. So right now you will see a link which will go to our calendar, and in that link you will be able to book a meeting with our experts. It will be 30 minutes consultation, which is for free, so make sure that you do it. Okay, you will have this link just right now. And while moving forward, let me also recommend to you several articles which I believe are highly efficient right now. First article, this is Overcoming Supply Chain Challenges with Artificial Intelligence, what large manufacturers need to know. So again, you will have a link to this article. It was published in Forbes, but no need actually to search for it. You will have this link in our email, which we sent to you, so you will be able to read it. And second article, again, highly recommended. Please pay attention. This is how digital twins can help supply chain survive disruptions. So next step, if we're talking about technology in supply chain, this is digital twins. This is actually pretty much digital copy of your business. And this is what Jihad was talking about. This is what will help you protect your business in future years, because again, disruptions and unpredictabilities are increasing. And if you don't have instant visibility, and if you don't have tools to make quick, but at the same time right managing decisions, in such case, with high probability for those companies will be difficult to survive actually competition, and maybe not even difficult, but impossible. So this is actually the reality. So these articles you will have recently, they were actually written by Alex, one of our experts, with PhD in mathematical modeling. So just for you to know that very strong math and science is behind of all of his research. So behind the research of Alex Koshulka. Let's move forward. Please let me know if you still have some questions. If you do have, let's actually just invest 2 more minutes to answering your questions. And let me also remind you that you have chance to have free consultation with our experts to discuss how to make your business more efficient and how to protect your business from future disruptions and future unpredictabilities, which are actually, very predictable. So we can predict that we will have a lot of unpredictabilities in future. Okay, let me check if you still have questions. Okay, wonderful. So guys, let us know actually how we did this webinar. Did you enjoy it? Was it useful for you, this information? Did you find for yourself some ideas? Please share with us in chat. We will be really, really happy actually to read it. Actually, in my personal chat, I see, okay, yes, thank you so much actually for your feedback. It was our pleasure to prepare it. It was our pleasure to prepare it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Actually, thank you for coming as well. Thank you for coming. Thank you. So thanks, Maha, for sharing your academic view. Thank you, Jihad, for sharing your experience with your clients. And thanks all of you for attending this webinar. As I already mentioned, you will have recording in our follow-up email. You will receive everything, and see you soon. See you next time. Bye. Have a nice day.